Do you drink? If you answered yes to that question, you need to listen up. Several very smart PhD scientists over at our show sponsor, ZBiotics, developed an incredible pre-alcohol probiotic drink that you take before drinking alcohol. That's right, before you drink. The toxic byproducts of alcohol are what make you feel bad the next morning. This is the real problem, not dehydration. So ZBiotics developed a genetically engineered probiotic drink to break down these alcohol byproducts, helping you feel better when you wake up the next day. I've shared these with several friends and family members who drink alcohol, and they've all gave me rave reviews. This is real science that works. No random plant extracts. No off-the-shelf ingredients. Just drink one ZBiotic before you start drinking. It works throughout the night, so you have more spring in your step the next day. Guys, it's that simple. ZBiotics comes in packs of 3, 6, 12, 50, or 100. You can save 15% today at zbiotics.com/Chael, or just click on the link in the description below. Be sure to use the code Chael at checkout to get this special offer. Well, choice is yours. What are you guys going to do? The choice is yours. Do you want Jon Jones versus Stipe, or do you want Jon Jones versus Ciryl Gane? That is the situation that I believe that we're in. Now, the only thing that could hedge against the statement I just said being true is that a deal could be reached between Jon and Stipe, and that's going to be released this week. It's a big deal. It's a big deal how you follow this sport within the time frame of pay-per-views with news that comes out. Now, Dana used to be extremely calculated when he had Media Week to have something to give to the media. The world of social media has thrown off Dana and everybody else because you can't keep a secret. It's too hard to keep it close. You want to do a press release, you want to do a big reveal. You guys might remember when it was going to be for UFC 200, but when Brock Lesnar was coming back. Brock Lesnar is going to return to the sport opposite Mark Hunt. It was a big deal, and they had a package, and they wanted to release this at the pay-per-view. Do you know how colossally difficult it would be to keep that secret? Because now it's not just Brock that knows and his team. It's not just Mark Hunt knows and his team. You have an editing department. The people that work at the UFC, don't forget, they love it. They love the UFC. This is where they want to be. They're fans. Imagine if you had a skill with editing or software or PR or marketing, but you could get within the walls in the office. You'd be happy as could be. You'd be like a kid at Disneyland. And I'm only sharing that because there was a lot of things and a lot of people and a lot that had to touch this. Approvals and legal departments. Like, there's a lot that goes into making one of these packages that you're going to drop during a pay-per-view. A lot. And even if you contained this thing, you still got 10 people. 10 people's a lot of people to trust. And sure enough, it did not make it to the pay-per-view. It got revealed. Well, now, but think about this from Dana's standpoint. I feel like nobody ever does. Think about this from Dana's standpoint. He's now spent the money. He's got this whole plan in place for this package of which he's going to drop, which, by the way, just to go back to that night, and for you smart marks that remember this, you will recall, when I say nobody knew that was going to happen, that included the broadcasters. The package for Brock Lesnar, as much of as an excitement, and beast and concert, Brock Lesnar is a once-in-a-lifetime attraction. That's true. If you ever see the man or you come in, there's just something about him. He's got this aura, he's got this glow. I watched it. I'd been tipped off through Twitter by Ariel Helwani, but it's very relevant that I was. Because when I saw the package and they released that Brock is going to come back and he's going to be fighting Mark Hunt, it's going to be at UFC 200, I connected 0 of those dots. I didn't get any of it by the B-roll that they played. And it wasn't just me. Joe Rogan, who's live, said to Mike Goldberg, does that mean Brock's coming back? He said it just like that. He wasn't told ahead of time. Kept this whole thing a secret. Nobody fed in his ear. Nobody in the truck. All of these people got phones. All of these people tweeted at me. When I tell you how hard it is to keep a secret, and Dana used to work really hard, now it's just a different deal. Why do I bring all that into? Because it's a little bit of a conspiracy by me to even say that Dana has the fight done between Jones and Stipe, and he's waiting until press day this week to release it. That's a little bit me stuck about 15 years ago. I don't think that that is done. I think that you guys now have the choice. And I think that this is the first time that anybody's been given the choice. I feel as though Jones, Stipe, and Francis are up in this loft all by themselves that nobody could get to. I mean, you can't get to Francis. The poor guy is nursing an injury, not to mention a contract dispute. So just move him aside. Jon Jones has never been licensed or weighed in history within this division, but that put him in like a protected purgatory. Right? There's a couple of ways to look at a guy who's never been into a division. One, you can look at him as though you don't matter, you don't pertain to the division. That's true. But there's another way. Quite frankly, it's the way that I look at it. That was just psychology. I can't control it. I look at it the other way, which is Jon Jones is undefeated. Jon Jones has never lost at heavyweight. And then you have Stipe, who's everybody's favorite guy, not to mention he absolutely qualifies for a trilogy fight against Francis. He deserves to be given the opportunity that he just gave to somebody else. Okay, great. This is the argument to these three guys. Wherever you want to put that, however solid you think those are, but it also encapsulated them and it made them completely protected. And then Saturday took place, where you had the biggest star in the division, Tai Tuivasa, take on the number one guy in the division per the rankings in Ciryl Gane. And you had a finish. Tell me another time that you had 1 versus 4. Whoever won the match, tell me a time that you had 1 versus 4. It ends in a finish, and the winner didn't get a title fight. I mean, I'll sit here and wait as long as you want. And I gave you a lot of options there. I don't care who won the match. Just tell me a time that 1 and 4 got in there. It was a stoppage, and the victor didn't go into a title fight. See, it's one of these things that get really interesting really fast. And as much as those three guys have been protected for whatever reasons, but they have by all of us have preserved the idea of the round robin between Francis, Stipe, and Jones, but so have the fellow heavyweights. And I don't know that the heavyweights, as much as I want them to scream, I think Tom Aspinall, had he not had the injury with Curtis Blaydes, I think if Tom would have won that fight, I think we would have already been having this discussion, but he didn't win it. And for whatever reason, people keep Curtis at an arm's reach. I don't know what it is that Curtis, I've asked you guys this for 2 years now. I don't know what it is Curtis did to the community, but for some reason, he has a really hard time breaking in. And while I'm telling you that you now have your choice, that now Ciryl Gane is available, it can be Ciryl versus Jon Jones. What an interesting match. Truly is an interesting match, which I didn't think so going into this fight, by the way, with Tuivasa. I thought Ciryl was great, and I thought Ciryl was wonderful, and he's 15-0. I mean, I'm going back, right? The night he loses to Francis. The night he lost to Francis, I realized Jon Jones gets on top of this guy one time. Jon Jones will change this man forever. But now I got to look back and go, you know what? Maybe the Predator's takedown is a little better than I thought. Maybe he was in a little bit deeper on those hips than I realized. Maybe he's a little bit stronger and offers some intangibles that I couldn't quite see through my TV screen. I don't know that Jon Jones could go take down Ciryl. That's what I'm saying. I did believe that. I don't know that I believe that now. In a kickboxing battle, I think Jon Jones is as scary as anybody that's ever been in the sport. I think he belongs on the same page as the Jose Aldos and the Anderson Silvas. But he's taking on a pure kickboxer. Like, just in theory, that isn't true. Unless the sport of kickboxing is garbage, and it might be. It truly might be one of those arts that is a niche and is not real. But unless it's not real, unless it's a niche, Ciryl Gane whips his ass. No other way around it. Jon Jones, whose only experience on his feet fighting is within mixed martial arts, if he can go out and take on a guy who's a professional with a beautiful record, then kickboxing is garbage. It's not real. And that might be true. And that has offended a number of people when I bring that up. I'm happy for you to be wrong, for you to prove me wrong. I realize that 185 pounds, you've had no greater opportunity, and I'm not looking to bury your sport. There are some sports amongst us that are garbage. It's the entire reason They set up the Octagon the first time in 1993. It wasn't to sell pay-per-views. It wasn't to do international business. It wasn't to bring in sponsorships. It wasn't to get magazines. It wasn't to get merchandise and deals. It wasn't to get video games. It was for none of those reasons. It was to market to a gym so that people would come in and bring their kids to the gym. Say, our art is better at self-defense than your art. That's it. That's all this whole thing was about. They went to a lot of expense. They brought in some cameras. They blew this up a little bit, but the whole premise was just to sign up people at your local gym. That was it. And we found out there's a big waste of time in a number of arts. Don't be offended. Muay Thai might be one of them. Kickboxing might be one of them. Or Ciryl Gane kicks Jon's ass. It's as simple as that. There's not an in-between. There's not a catch. There's not a link by Jon Jones. There's none of those things. It's real or it's not. Okay? All right. Now, what do you want to see? And it really does put some pressure on. The three guys that we have encapsulated that have moved on have had a level of power. They've had a level of power to talk about what they're going to do and when they're going to do it. That changes very quickly as soon as we find that fourth man. And we have. And his name's Ciryl Gane. So I'm just coming back to a very basic question. I'm not attempting to trick anybody. I'm wondering, it's popular opinion. Who are you going to choose? Is it Stipe versus Jones? Or is it Ciryl versus Jones?